Hey guys, this is Dr. Cliff with MTSU, and I got a short video here on how to create a data table and how to create a graph. So you should have an Excel file with you that gives you a starting point, and we'll sort of work our way through and figure out how to do this. I think you had a handwritten sheet that you'd worked on. It's called career data, and you had a couple columns: career, average annual salary, national employment figures, local employment figures, and job outlook. And you've been filling out that sheet by hand. So right now you got a data table, but it's done by hand, and that's not really a great thing to try to show somebody if you're doing a presentation. So we're going to figure out how to get that kind of information into Excel. So you've got a file in Excel that starts off, you've got a student file, and that looks kind of like your handwritten sheet. It's got the same title, career data, and it's got most of those columns, but probably the very first thing you notice when you look at the student file is that the second column says national employment figures, and when you look at your handwritten sheet, the second column was average annual salary, so we're missing a column. So let's go over here to instructions and let's see what we need to do. So when we look at the data table, first thing that we see is it says insert a new column in B, so that's column B, and label this column average annual salary with a $sign. So we're trying to get that column from the handwritten sheet inserted over into this file. So we're going to click on the B, and then we're going to right click. When we right click, we get the insert. And then we need to put our title in there. So average annual salary with the $sign. All right, so let's go back to our instructions. So we've taken care of the first two steps here. I'm just going to highlight them so that I can keep track of where I am. Enter the appropriate data into each cell. So I'm going to go back to student file. So now this is really just like typing. So I need to get the information that's on your handwritten sheet entered into Excel. And again, this is just like typing. And I'm going to jump over to a file. Well, I've already done some of that. So I've typed in a couple of job career titles, the average annual salary, the national employment figure, the local employment figure, and the percent. So I've just taken the information that was on my career data sheet, put it into Excel. So we've taken care of that one. Then we're going to, when entering numbers, do not include the comma. So let me go back and just make sure we understand what happens here. So if I'm looking for a salary, and the salary is $50,000, then I don't want to type in 50 with a comma, because when Excel sees that, it doesn't really know what that comma means. It's kind of like mixing numbers and text to it. So all we really need to do is type in the 50,000, and we can see up here, I just typed in 50,000 and I didn't insert a comma. Excel will know that you need a comma there, so Excel will put the comma. So that's what this instruction here that says when entering numbers do not include the comma, that's what that's telling you, that you don't need to type that comma in, you just need to type the number. When entering the job outlook, you must enter the number in decimal format, so 2% might be like 0.02. So again, depending on how we format this column E, these numbers are percentages. So if we don't have it formatted to percentage, then we need to input the number like 0.02. And then it'll automatically turn that in. Excel knows, oh, okay, that's 2%. All right, so those are just a couple little notes on what to do. Format columns representing money with $signs, large numbers with commas, and percentages with percent. So what that's telling us is that I can go into any column. So for instance, here in column B, where I've got dollar amounts, it's kind of hard to tell those are dollar amounts. Like when I look at that number, 27,920, and I look at the number right beside it, 182,890, it's hard to know, are those both dollar amounts or are some just a count of something? If I look up the column heading, I can tell that what's in column B is a dollar amount. So what I want to do is change the format, and I can just look right up here where my formats are, and if I just kind of want to do a quick formatting, I can choose that with the $sign in front of it. I don't really need those decimal places, so I'm going to cut back on the decimal places, and the comma already goes in there. So now these numbers are a lot more readable. I can tell These are all dollar amounts, and I know where the comma is. These don't have dollar amounts, so they're counts of something. All right, so that's kind of just playing around with formatting. And then sort the table by average annual salary in descending order. So we're going to go back to my table that's got all the information, and I'm going to sort it. Right now I've got it sorted in alphabetical order by career. So A for art, and then B for bailiff, and down at the bottom is T for transportation. So depending on what my column is, it's going to be sorted however I tell it I want it to sort. So right now, again, it's sorted by alphabetical order by career title. But what I'd like to see is average annual salary. I want to know what's the lowest annual salary going up to the highest annual salary. So if I just click in that column and then right click, I can go to sort, and I can sort from large to small or small to large. So I want to go small to large. I want the lowest salary first, highest salary last. And so you can see it sorts that entire table and tells me that bakers have the lowest salary, $27,920 a year, and purchasing managers have the highest salary, $121,810 a year. All right, so now I've got my table pretty much the way that I want it. It's all filled in. I'm going to get rid of this little 2% that I just typed in for an example. It's sorted in the way that I want it, and what I'd really like to do is make some kind of graph, because if I'm trying to explain this to somebody, showing them this table is one thing, but seeing it in a graph is certainly a lot more helpful. Highlight the cells in your table containing the job title and average salary, including the heading row. So that tells me I need to highlight this. This is my heading row, row 3. So I need to highlight career and average annual salary, and all the way down to the very last row, whatever your last row is. So however big your table is, you're going to highlight all that. And then insert recommended chart, and we're going to select the clustered column chart. So let's see what that means. If I go to insert, all right, if I go to insert and then I go to recommended charts, it shows some different styles. So this is a clustered bar. You don't want that. Here's a clustered column. So let's take clustered column. And now, I just expanded that a little bit. This table tells us the same information as this graph does, but this graph is visual and really shows us what's going on. We can see that bakers have the lowest annual salary, leading up to purchasing managers with the highest annual salary. So we've created our clustered column chart. Right click the vertical axis and change format axis, change the number to accounting with 0 decimal places. So let's see what they're talking about there. This right axis, we may have to format it sometimes. It may look like different types of numbers. So if I click in there and then I right click, I can go to format axis, and I can make that number look like different types of number. If I just say make it look like a number, then it takes the $sign away. If I take the comma out, then the comma's not there anymore, and that's certainly much harder to read. So I want to make it look like accounting, which again puts a $sign and a comma in it. I want 0 decimal places. So now it's easy to see. I'm going to expand this again just a little bit. Now it's easy to see dollar amounts, and we can read across and see, for instance, a purchasing manager. It looks like they make $120,000 a year. Of course, we can go to our table and see, yeah, they make $121,810 a year. So that's formatting. And then under chart style, choose style 9 to give a black background and blue columns. So we can make this table look a little bit differently. So if we hover over the little paintbrush and it says chart styles, it gives us some different options for how we want this chart to look. A white background with black letters, blue columns, it's okay. But again, if I was going to do this for a presentation, I might look to see, add some color. So here's style number 9. We see right here it says style 9. So we're going to take style 9, give us a black background, white letters, white numbers, and blue columns. If I were going to print this, I probably wouldn't do this because it might print all that black on a sheet of paper. But if I was going to show it for a demonstration, put it up on a screen or something. That's probably the way I'd like for it to look. Might do some more formatting, maybe make these words a little bit bigger, maybe change the column colors. We'll worry about doing those kind of things in a later video. So hopefully that gets you through how to create a table in Excel and how to create a chart that's linked to that table in Excel. This is Dr. Cliff with MTSU. Hope this was helpful.